Minasan, Losers here. Today's lesson is the similarities and differences between Sasuke and Jujutsu Kaisen's Sasuke Megumi. Make sure you pay attention. We can all tell how similar the Jujutsu trio is to Team 7, and Megumi is no exception. Starting from the obvious cues, their design. Not only do they have a very similar hair color and hairstyle, but their facial features are almost identical. As if Gigi called Kishimoto and told him, "Hey, can I copy your homework?" And he responded, "Yes, but don't make it too obvious," and still proceeded to make it as obvious as the sun in the sky. Gigi took Sasuke and made him into a non-interesting character. Yup, non-interesting. Why? Let me explain. Starting off by how he was introduced. The first appearance is what matters the most for a character, and Megumi's first appearance certainly failed to capture anyone's attention, nor did it make anyone care about him or like him. We may argue that he is one of the most important characters in the story. He is as important to the plot as Sasuke is, but they were dealt with in very different ways. Although light hasn't been shed on Sasuke right after he appeared, with the little screen time he was given, it was still enough to establish him as a talented, smart kid. And while he did appear in the first episode, his real prolonged appearance wasn't until the third episode. Yup, the second most important character in Naruto wasn't given his proper introduction till that late. Even Konohamaru was introduced before. He wasn't given importance right away, but he wasn't done dirty. He was shown as an attractive kid. I'm talking about the guy that gets to date your crush. Naruto liked Sakura, but Sakura liked Sasuke, and Sasuke was getting all the positive attention that Naruto has always wanted. So naturally, Naruto got jealous, and things tensed out between them, leading into an unexpected resolution. Not exactly a very likable start to Sasuke, but it was a funny scene for sure. Whereas Megumi was shown to look for an object, following the orders of his annoying sensei as he beared his goofiness and careless attitude. The scene was shown as nothing more than a conversation between a student and a sensei. The difference between the two scenes is that Sasuke's first appearance had more significance to it. The scene was more engaging and had more emotions attached to it, whereas Megumi's scene does not provoke any emotions. It was that kind of scene that leaves you in a neutral state, hence why we couldn't care less about his presence. But to be fair, we can't judge him over a very short scene. His second appearance is more important. This scene was actually focused on introducing Megumi as a character. He's shown as someone serious, responsible, with no bullshit attitude, and he appeared to be going after a dangerous object in order to prevent bad shit from happening. He also takes his time explaining how cursed spirits work to Yuji and to the audience so that we get to know the rules of the world. But again, the conflict of the scene isn't essential to Megumi, aka he's just doing his job, is the kind of feel that we get from the scene. It does not matter to Megumi on a personal scale. And in this scene, Megumi was shown to be stressed out about this outcome. Not a very likable emotion to us. None of the positive or interesting aspects about Megumi were shown off until he summoned his two Shikigamis, but even that was not given much importance or attention, as he used them just to finish off some weak cursed spirits. Not to mention that he acquired his Shikigami walls as early as the age of 5. 10 years later, when this scene played out, he's a grade 2 sorcerer whose Shikigamis disappeared just after taking 2 blows from a grade 2 cursed spirit. Megumi was shown to be constantly stressed out when in danger, especially on the first episode, making us focus on the danger of the cursed object rather than what he could do. This shows him as incapable, as he couldn't save Yuji's 2 friends in time before Yuji saved him. This transferred our attention to Yuji instead and shown him as more effective. That means that Gigi used Megumi as a device to further showcase Yuji's ridiculous athleticism and raw strength, sacrificing him for the sake of the plot. But that wasn't the worst of it all, because Megumi was caught by a second grade cursed spirit quite easily, despite him being able to detect cursed spirit. And to make matters worse, this cursed spirit is a second grade cursed spirit, which is a level of monsters or cursed spirits that a grade 2 sorcerer should be able to easily handle or defeat. Instead, it took only about 3 blows to almost defeat Megumi and put him in a terrible position. He was shown as someone weak and incapable. And even after the first episode, he barely had any time to shine afterward. There aren't scenes where he outsmarted or overpowered his opponents, and that showcased him as mediocre, whereas Sasuke was established as the rival to Naruto, which is already a position that shows his importance to the show. We were able to know about his goal right when the light was shed on him. In the third episode of Naruto, there was this scene when the Team 7 members were telling about their likes and dislikes. Sakura was shown to like Sasuke and hate, well, Naruto. Naruto showed his dream of being a Hokage and being acknowledged by the village. The atmosphere of the scene was still sunshine and flowers until it was time for Sasuke to share about his dreams, likes and dislikes. He was shown as someone with very little likes and too much to dislike, already contrasting Sakura and Naruto, who both had something they liked so much. His ambition compared to both of them isn't far-fetched, and it was made clear, which is to restore his clan and kill someone without fail. We didn't know yet why he would want to restore his clan and why he would want to kill this particular person. And in wanting to know more about him, we became interested in his character, compared to Megumi, who doesn't have any big end goals. The first appearance of a certain character and our first impression of it governs how much we would care about them. I would even argue that Nobara had a better first appearance than him. The episode where she showed up focused on her moral values, goals, and her unique ability. She was established to the audience in an effective way compared to Megumi at least. He earned the title of a Sasuke because of his looks and how he preferred to get things done all by himself, because he believed others would go on his way. Both him and Sasuke are responsible, and they take almost every matter seriously, and they have that neutral expression almost all the time. They are both descendants of a powerful clan with lots of expectations placed upon them. Sasuke was Itachi's younger brother and the son of the chief of police Fugaku. Sasuke trained ever since he was a child to live up to those expectations and to gain the attention of his parents under the wrong impression that they didn't love him as much as they loved Itachi. At that point, Sasuke was still caring, innocent and warm, nice in general, and that side of him only changed after the eradication of the Uchiha clan. Megumi, on the other hand, was more mature, stoic and stern at the age of 4 when he first met Gojo, and despite those expectations placed upon him, they didn't matter to him so much in a personal level. He showed very little to no care about his father or his mother, mainly because he's barely spent any time with them. His father was almost never home, and his mother died when he was still a baby. Sasuke had a deep love for his brother and his parents, and invested a lot of feelings towards his family. Lots of love that was shattered and turned into hate, creating his edgy persona. Both Sasuke and Megumi are orphans. While Sasuke is a proud Uchiha member, Megumi was never too fond of his clan. He didn't exactly hate them, as he was fine with being sold to them as long as his stepsister Tsumaki can be happy, who appears to be the only person he truly cared about, making it another similar point to Sasuke, the closest person being a sibling. When comparing the past of Megumi with the past of Sasuke, you see that the past of Sasuke has more strong emotions attached to it. The elements connected to his character are more important personally to him. Megumi was never competitive, didn't have any motivation to get stronger, and he didn't have any big goals ahead of him. With a lack of connection to his past and a lack of dedication, we couldn't care about his past or his future. Both of them have abilities inherited by blood. Sasuke has the Sharingan, which is an eye that gives its user several unique abilities, such as the ability to copy other jutsus, the ability to see the flow of chakra, and many more. Megumi inherits the 10 Shadows, which is the ability to summon 10 Shikigamis from the shadows and control them. The Uchihas are guaranteed to inherit the Sharingan, not to activate it, but to inherit it, while being a member of the Zenin clan does not guarantee you to have the 10 Shadows, making those who can use the technique even more valuable and considered high value. Another difference is that the 10 Shadow technique cannot be stolen or transferred into another character, like in the case of Sharingan, where it was transferred to Kakashi or Danzo. Both the inherited abilities do not reach their full potential right away. The 10 Shadows users receive 2 Shikigami once the ability is unlocked, the 2 Divine Dogs, which Megumi had obtained since the age of 5, and he had to obtain the rest of Shikigami through rituals, where the user has to defeat the Shikigami and make them submit in order to use them later in battle. While Sasuke had to witness a loved one's death in order to activate a more advanced form of the Sharingan, called the Mangekyu Sharingan, which provides him with a stronger visual illusionary technique or genjutsu, as well as other special special jutsus like the Susanoo, Amaterasu, Izanagi, and Izanami. This was another chance for Gigi to make Megumi an interesting character that was missed because the Shikigamis were almost never used to gain real advantage. Except for Mahoraga, which requires the sacrifice of oneself, the other Shikigamis were not really used in significant ways. When Sasuke and Megumi cast a spell, they use a variety of hand signs unique to the ability they are using, as each summoning in Megumi's arsenal had a hand sign to resemble it. Megumi relies heavily on the arsenal he gained from his inherited abilities, and his physical combat ability is quite low compared to his fellow sorcerers. Despite him training with Maki and Gojo constantly, he was still almost always at disadvantage when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. It only took about 3 hits from Todo to push him into attempting to summon Mahoraga again. For a suicidal ability, he sure attempted to use it a lot, and he's not even depressed. If that were me, I would be spawning endless Mahoragas into the world. After Tsumiki, his sister, got cursed, he developed a solid sense of morale. He believes that a certain type of people are not worth saving, and the criminal act of a person removes from their rights and makes them less deserving of respect or well-treatment. He also believes that saving as many people as possible runs the risk of them hurting others in the future, hinting that if a bad person is saved, he could hurt others later. Which comes back to him saving Yuji and watching for him to be spared despite being the vessel of Sukuna, simply because he wants good people like Yuji to receive fairness, meaning that he evaluates people on how good they are as a person, while Sasuke evaluates people on how strong or useful they are, arrogantly disregarding those who he deems weak so that they don't hold him back. Although he grew to be very untrusting, relying on himself more than others, he gradually began trusting Naruto, a period of time that altered his personality so much that he even began losing track of his mission for revenge, a goal put on track again when Itachi attacked the village and reminded him of how fucking weak he is and how little of progress is made. This revenge matters so much to Sasuke that he was ready to go down the rogue path if it meant him getting strong enough to defeat his brother. Compared to Megumi, Sasuke was given more time to bond with Naruto and Sakura, but despite that, he was still ready to cut his bonds with them. This shows that Megumi is more compassionate than Sasuke is. Megumi was shown to have no big shifts in his personality, and up to the last Eren episode, he still doesn't have a real ambition or goal that he cares about so much. And since he doesn't really care that much, why would we? And we know that there isn't something that exciting that is going to happen when he is on screen. The complete opposite is with Sasuke, as every time he appears, we know that something important is gonna happen. At some points of the series, many people hated or loved Sasuke, but either way, they cared about his existence. And that's your mission as an author, to make people care and to keep people engaged. Even in the Shibuya arc, the most significant moment to his character is perhaps meeting his dad for a brief time or attempting to save his teammates from Dagon. Even finally summoning Mahoraga didn't have much of importance to it. The entire episode of Mahoraga was like, okay, cool. That was my reaction to it. Now Mahoraga is fighting Sukuna and all this chaos is happening. It just came out of nowhere. It didn't defeat any opponent, cause any real difference in the battlefield or anything that important. If the summoning of Mahoraga was done right, it would have been such a bone-chilling moment, that's for sure. And if he had more moments to shine, we would have liked him more, that's for sure. This comparison shows you what you should do and shouldn't do with characters as essential to the story as Megumi or Sasuke, and explains why the character of Sasuke worked while Megumi's character failed. I believe my point was crossed. That's it for the video. Till next time. See ya.